I sat at the fancy dinner table on a big ship, watching my future daughter-in-law drink from my wine glass. 20 minutes later, she couldn't speak properly and kept saying strange things. My son looked terrified and kept asking if she needed help. That's when I understood the scary truth. For months, this woman had been putting poison in my drinks, trying to make me lose my mind. But tonight, I had switched our glasses. Now she was experiencing what she had done to me. This is my story about how I almost lost everything to someone I trusted. My name is Rose, and I'm 68 years old. After my husband Richard died, life became very quiet and lonely. My son Marcus had a busy job at a computer company. We used to have dinner every week, but slowly we only talked on holidays. One Tuesday evening, Marcus called me. His voice sounded happy and excited. "Mom, I want you to meet someone special. Can you come to dinner this Saturday?" My heart felt warm. Marcus hadn't sounded this happy in years. Saturday came and I spent a long time choosing what to wear. I wanted to make a good first impression. The restaurant was very fancy with white tablecloths and quiet waiters. When Marcus walked in, he was holding hands with a beautiful woman with blonde hair. She looked like a movie star. "Mum, this is Sophia," Marcus said with a big smile. "Mrs. Bennett, I'm so happy to meet you," Sophia said, shaking my hand. "Marcus talks about you all the time. He told me how you help at the library and work at the animal shelter. Double quotes, really. Marcus barely called me these days. But I believed her." During dinner, Sophia listened to everything I said like my words were very important. She liked my earrings. She asked questions about Richard's job. She wanted to know about my volunteer work. When I mentioned how quiet my house was since Richard died, Sophia looked very sad. "Oh, Rose, may I call you Rose? You shouldn't be alone so much. That makes me sad." She held my hand. "Marcus, didn't you tell me about that vacation we planned? The trip to the Caribbean?" Marcus looked surprised. "Well, yes, but I thought it would be just us two. Rose should come with us," Sophia said excitedly. "It will be perfect. Just the three of us spending time together. Please say yes, Rose. It would make me so happy." She called me her future mother-in-law. Those words made me feel wanted and needed again. I said yes right away. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and I spent lots of time together. We went shopping, had coffee, and ate lunch. She actually listened when I talked about Richard's silly jokes and how he loved fixing things. She made me laugh until my face hurt. Sophia seemed perfect. She was kind, sweet, and really interested in my life. I started feeling like I finally had a daughter. One day, we stopped by my house so I could get my credit card. Sophia walked through my house looking at everything with big, dreamy eyes. She touched the kitchen counters. She stared at the beautiful light fixture Richard had bought me. She stood on the bedroom balcony looking at the view for a long time. "Rose, this house is like something from a magazine," she said, sitting in Richard's old chair. "I bet you feel like a queen here every morning. The light, the space, everything is so perfect." "It's just a house, dear," I said. "It's really too big for just me now." She shook her head. "No, this is a dream home. Someone could live here forever and never want to leave. Never need to leave." The way she said, "never need to leave," gave me a strange feeling. But I thought she was just imagining her future life with Marcus. That afternoon at the store, I left my purse with Sophia while I went to the bathroom. When I came back, everything looked normal. My wallet was there. My keys were in the right place. But now I know that's probably when everything started. She had my purse. She could see all my pills and medicine. She could look at everything. "Ready to get lunch?" she asked, linking her arm with mine. I should have been more careful. I should have noticed how she remembered where everything was in my house after just one visit. I should have wondered how someone who worked as a teacher could buy such expensive clothes. But I was so lonely and wanted someone to care about me. I ignored all the warning signs. About 1 week before the trip, strange things started happening to me. At first, I told myself it was just stress or getting older. One Tuesday morning, I woke up in my guest bathroom, confused and scared. For several minutes, I couldn't remember if I was at home or in a hotel. The tiles under my feet felt strange. I didn't recognize my own face in the mirror. My heart beat very fast. "Get yourself together, Rose," I whispered, holding onto the counter tightly. "You're in your own house. You've lived here for 32 years. But the confusion stayed, making everything feel unreal. Later that day at the grocery store, I saw my neighbor Janet. I've known Janet for many, many years. She brought me food after Richard died. We've been friends forever. "Rose, how are you?" Janet asked, holding a bag of oranges. I looked at her face. I knew her, but suddenly I couldn't remember her name. The silence was long and uncomfortable. "I'm sorry," I finally said. "I'm having one of those days, you know. Are you feeling okay?" Janet asked, looking worried. "You look pale." "Just tired," I lied. How could I tell her I couldn't remember her name? When I told Marcus about these scary moments, I tried to sound calm, like they were just funny little mistakes. "It's probably stress, Mom," Marcus said. But I could tell he was looking at his computer while we talked. "You need a vacation. Good thing you're coming on the trip with us." Then I heard Sophia's voice in the background. Suddenly she was on the phone. "Rose, sweetie, don't worry about those little memory problems. My uncle had the same thing when he got older. The ocean air will help you feel better. Sometimes our brains just need a break." "What happened to your uncle?" I asked. There was a small pause. "Oh, he's doing much better now. He's in a nice care home where he gets help. Very peaceful. He seems happy there." These scary episodes kept happening more and more. I'd find myself standing in my kitchen with no memory of walking there. I'd forget what I was saying halfway through. Once I got lost driving to the bank, even though I'd gone there hundreds of times. But here's the really twisted part. Every time something happened, Sophia would show up within a few hours. She'd bring soup or cookies. She'd make tea and add honey. "You poor thing," she'd say. "These things happen to everyone eventually. The important thing is not to stress. Stress makes everything worse." I thought she was taking care of me. But really, she was just checking to see if her poison was working. The cruise ship was amazing when we got on in Miami. It had glass elevators and shiny marble floors. The lobby had a huge waterfall and so many flowers. I felt excited for the first time in months. Sophia squealed with happiness at everything. "Rose, look at this place. It's like a movie. We're going to have the best time." But Marcus seemed quiet. While Sophia talked with the staff about dinner plans, Marcus stood apart, looking at his phone with a frown. "Is everything okay, honey?" I asked. He looked up surprised. "Oh, yeah, just work stuff. The Johnson deal has some problems." He put his phone away. "But I'm supposed to be on vacation, right?" "That's right," Sophia said, appearing beside him. "No work, no stress. Just fun together." She handed me my room key. "Rose, your room is just down the hall from ours, so we'll be close." Our first night, we had dinner in the main dining room. It was so fancy and beautiful. Marcus tried to be happy and present, but something seemed wrong. He looked stressed. "You seem tired, sweetheart," I said. "Are you sure you're feeling okay?" "Just need to get used to being away from work," he said with a forced laugh. After dinner, we walked around the ship's deck, looking at the moonlight on the water. Sophia held both our arms, talking about all the fun activities she wanted to do. "This is perfect," she sighed. "Just the three of us. No distractions." But as we went back to our rooms, I felt like something was wrong. Maybe it was how Marcus kept checking his phone. Maybe it was how Sophia seemed too happy, like she was pretending. That night, I heard voices from their room next door. The walls were thin, and I could hear them talking. His voice was low and upset. I never agreed to this timeline, Sophia. This wasn't the plan. Her voice was higher and more forceful. Plans change, Marcus. We don't have a choice now. The opportunity is right here. This is going too far. I'm not comfortable with. Since when do you get uncomfortable about anything that helps us both? Their voices got quieter after that, but the tension was clear. I pressed my ear to the wall, trying to hear more, but I could only hear whispers and what sounded like papers moving. The next morning, they both smiled again, acting like the perfect couple. Sophia brought me coffee in bed. I thought you might like to start the day slowly, she said sweetly. Marcus seemed more relaxed too, but I couldn't forget what I'd heard. What plan were they talking about? Why did Marcus seem so against something Sophia wanted? I was about to find out just how much danger I was really in. By the third day on the ship, my confusion was getting much worse. I was really scared about what was happening to my brain. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, standing on the ship's deck in my pajamas. I had no memory of leaving my room. The ocean was black and huge all around me. For several scary minutes, I couldn't remember my own name or how I got there. A security guard found me 20 minutes later, still standing there in my nightgown and slippers, shaking from the cold air. "Ma'am, are you okay?" he asked gently. "I'm fine," I said automatically, even though nothing was fine. "Just getting some air. It's pretty cold for pajamas," he said kindly. "Can I help you back to your room?" Walking back was embarrassing. Other people stared at me with pity. I kept my head up, but inside I was falling apart off breakfast the next morning. Sophia was extra caring, watching me like a nurse. "You look so tired, Rose," she said. "Did you sleep badly?" Sometimes the ship's movement can be confusing. "I'm fine," I repeated, but my hands shook as I reached for my coffee. "Here, I brought you fresh orange juice," she said, putting a tall glass in front of me. "And don't forget your morning medicine. It's so important to stay on schedule." She was right. I'd been taking the same medicines for years. Blood pressure pills, calcium, and medicine for sadness after Richard died. But lately, they looked a little different. The shapes were slightly wrong. The colors weren't quite right. When I told the ship's doctor about this, he just nodded. "Generic brands often look different, Mrs. Bennett. Drug companies change how they make pills. As long as you get them from the same pharmacy, there's nothing to worry about." It made sense at the time. Why would I doubt a doctor? Sophia also started carrying my purse during our trips around the ship. She said she wanted to help since I seemed scattered. She'd take charge of my room key, my credit cards, even my lip balm. "You just focus on having fun," she'd say warmly. "Let me handle everything else." That afternoon, while they were at the spa, I rested in my cabin. As I lay on the bed, I kept thinking about their whispered conversation, the timeline they mentioned, the plan that was helping both of them, Elliot's resistance to whatever Sophia wanted. And then there was her comment about her uncle. How casually she mentioned his memory problems. How happy he was in his care home. Something about that story felt practiced, like she'd told it many times before. I tried to stop these thoughts. I tried to tell myself I was just being paranoid because my own mind was getting worse. But the doubts kept coming back. Something was happening to me. Something beyond normal aging. And I was starting to think it wasn't natural at all. It was formal night on the ship. The dining room looked like a fairy tale. Crystal lights sparkled. White tablecloths covered every table. A live band played soft jazz music. Sophia looked stunning in a gold, sparkly dress that caught the light every time she moved. The dress probably cost more money than I spend in a month. I wondered again how a teacher could afford such expensive clothes. "You look beautiful tonight, dear," I told her. "Thank you, Rose. You look elegant too in that navy dress." She squeezed my hand. "I'm so glad we're all here together. This has been such a perfect trip." Marcus seemed more relaxed than he'd been all week. He was actually laughing at Sophia's stories and asking me about my plans when we got home. For the first time since we boarded, he seemed truly present. When the band started playing Moon River, one of Richard's favorite songs, Sophia's eyes lit up. "Oh, I love this song. Marcus, dance with me." She stood and held out her hand. "I'm not a good dancer," he said, but he was already standing up. "That's what makes it fun." She laughed, pulling him to the dance floor. I smiled, watching them move together under the soft lights. Marcus was right, he wasn't a good dancer. But Sophia was graceful and made them look like they belonged together. Maybe I'd been overthinking everything. Maybe they were just stressed about wedding planning and work. Maybe I'd misunderstood normal couple problems as something bad. That's when the waitress appeared beside my table. She was young, maybe 25, with worried brown eyes and a serious face. She opened a menu in front of me and said loud enough for others to hear, "Here's the special dessert menu you asked for, ma'am." I hadn't asked for any menu. Confused, I looked down at the open page. Instead of pictures of cakes, there was a folded napkin with my name written on it. My hands shook as I opened the napkin under the menu. "I saw her put something in your drink when she got up to dance. Small white powder from a tiny bottle in her purse. Don't react. Switch glasses when she comes back. Get help immediately." My blood turned to ice. I looked up at the waitress. She was standing beside my table looking professional, but her eyes were worried and intense. "Thank you," I whispered so quietly I could barely hear myself. She gave me a tiny nod and walked away. I looked at the dance floor where Sophia was spinning gracefully in Marcus's arms. Her dress sparkled like stars. Her laugh carried over the music. She looked so beautiful, so happy, so innocent. Then I looked at our table. 2 glasses of red wine sat side by side. Mine was half empty. Hers was barely touched. They looked exactly the same. Without thinking about it, without giving myself time to stop, I switched them. When they came back to the table 5 minutes later, both slightly out of breath and smiling, Sophia was glowing with happiness. That was wonderful. I haven't danced like that in years. She sat down and immediately reached for her wine glass, my wine glass, and raised it. "To family and to the most perfect vacation I could imagine." "To family," Marcus said, raising his glass. I lifted mine with a steady hand, even though my heart was beating like crazy. "To family indeed," I said, and I watched her take a long drink of wine that I now knew had poison in it. The poison that was supposed to destroy me. 20 minutes later, I watched Sophia slowly poison herself with her own weapon. The satisfaction was almost overwhelming. It started small. Sophia began blinking a lot, like she couldn't focus. She touched her forehead and said the dining room felt warm, even though the air conditioning was fine. "Are you feeling okay, sweetheart?" Marcus asked, noticing her glazed eyes. "I'm fine," she said, but her words came out slower than normal. The wine is stronger than I thought." She'd barely had half a glass. But I didn't say anything. 10 minutes later, she started slurring her words. At first just a little, then more noticeably. "The lights are so sparkly tonight," she giggled, staring up at the chandelier. "Like little diamonds dancing in the air. Have you ever noticed how diamonds dance, Rose?" Marcus frowned, putting down his fork. "Sophia, are you sure you're okay? You've hardly had anything to drink." She tried to stand and swayed dangerously. catching herself on her chair. I feel floaty, like I'm on a cloud. Everything's moving, but in a good way. Maybe you should sit down, I suggested, trying hard not to sound satisfied. The ship's movement can be confusing. She looked at me with unfocused eyes, her face confused. Rose, did you know? Did you know the ocean has secrets? So many secrets down there in the dark. Other people were staring now, whispering and pointing at our table. A young woman in a beautiful dress acting drunk at an elegant dinner was the kind of thing that made people uncomfortable. I have secrets too, Sophia continued, her voice getting louder. Big secrets, important secrets. But they're safe with me, because I'm very good at keeping things safe. Marcus was really worried now, his face red with embarrassment. Okay, that's enough. Come on, Sophia. Let's get you back to the room. But I don't want to lie down, she protested, her words mixing together. I want to tell Rose about the secrets. She should know about the secrets because they're her secrets too. Sort of, my heart stopped. Even drugged and confused, was she about to confess what she'd been doing to me? You're not making sense, Marcus said firmly, standing up to help her. Let's go. As he guided her toward the elevator, she kept talking, saying nonsense about floating castles and golden fish, and how beautiful it would be to live in a palace forever and ever. The same kind of confused, disconnected talking I'd been experiencing for weeks. The same scary loss of thinking clearly that had made me question my own sanity. Except now I knew it wasn't natural. It wasn't age or stress or brain disease. Someone had been giving me drugs to poison my mind, and I just watched them get a taste of their own medicine. The moment they disappeared into the elevator, I found the waitress who'd saved my life. She was clearing tables near the kitchen, working efficiently. But when she saw me coming, she set down her tray and gave me her full attention. Thank you, I whispered, my voice thick with emotion. I've been watching her for 2 days, she said quietly. She's been doing something to your drinks every time you left the table. I work in hospitality. I know the signs of someone being drugged. The confusion, the disorientation, the way you'd seem fine 1 minute and lost the next. My legs almost gave out. Having my suspicions confirmed was both relieving and terrifying. Will you help me prove it? I asked. She nodded immediately. The security office has cameras everywhere on this ship. We can check the videos from tonight and probably from the past few days too. As we walked to the ship's offices, my mind raced with questions. If Sophia was drugging me, what was her plan? What did she want to accomplish by making me look mentally sick? And most importantly, was my so? As we walked to the ship's offices, my mind raced with questions. If Sophia was drugging me, what was her plan? What did she want to accomplish by making me look mentally sick? And most importantly, was my son involved in this plan to destroy me? The thought made me feel sick, but I had to know the truth, no matter how much it hurt. The security videos were like watching a horror movie, where I was the victim and didn't know it. The ship's security chief, a serious man in his 50s with kind eyes, pulled up the recordings from our dinner table on computer screens in his office. The cameras had captured everything in crystal clear detail with timestamps. There, the waitress said, pointing at the screen. Right there. We watched Sophia excuse herself from the table, saying she needed to use the bathroom. But the camera showed her stopping at the bar instead. She ordered 2 glasses of wine, the same kind we'd been drinking all week. She waited while the bartender poured them. Then, when the bartender turned away to help another customer, she looked around quickly. She reached into her small purse and pulled out what looked like a tiny glass bottle. Can you zoom in on that? The security chief asked. The image got bigger, and we could see her fingers working with practiced skill. She unscrewed a tiny cap and tapped white powder into one of the wine glasses. She stirred it quickly with a straw, put the bottle back in her purse, and carried both glasses back to our table with a big smile. "The one on the left was yours," the waitress confirmed. "She made sure to place it on your side of the table." My stomach felt sick as I watched myself on the screen, completely unaware I was about to drink poison. I looked so trusting, so grateful she had brought me wine. "How long has this been happening?" the security chief asked, his voice serious. "I think months," I said. "I've been having episodes, confusion, memory loss, feeling lost. I thought it was age, maybe brain disease. But now, we need to document everything," he said firmly. "This is attempted poisoning, possibly attempted murder, depending on what drugs she's been using. I'm calling the authorities immediately." As we watched the video again, I felt rage building inside me unlike anything I'd ever felt. This woman, this person I'd grown to love like the daughter I never had been destroying my mind for her own twisted reasons. But underneath the anger was something worse. Doubt about Marcus. "I need to know if my son is involved in this," I said. The words tasting bitter. The security chief's face was sympathetic but professional. "We'll investigate everyone who had access to you, ma'am. No exceptions. But right now, we need to secure the suspect and preserve the evidence." He made several phone calls to the ship's doctor, to the captain, to law enforcement. Within 30 minutes, there was a plan. "We're going to search their cabin," he explained. "If she's been drugging you for months, there will be evidence. More bottles, possibly your medicine with fake pills, maybe even records of her activities." The thought of Marcus's reaction scared me almost as much as the discovery itself. How do you tell your son that his fiancée is trying to murder his mother? How do you look him in the eye and explain that the woman he loves has been slowly poisoning you? But I had to know the truth, even if it destroyed our relationship forever. At 11 o'clock that night, security knocked on Marcus's cabin door. I stood in the hallway behind them, watching my son's face change from confusion to horror as they explained why they were there. He was wearing pajama pants and a t-shirt, his hair messy from sleep, and he looked so young and vulnerable my heart ached. "Mom. He looked at me desperately. "What's going on? What are they talking about?" I couldn't speak. I just stared at him, trying to read his face, trying to figure out if my son was capable of plotting my destruction, or if he was a victim too. The answer would determine whether I still had any family left in the world. The search of their cabin was thorough and devastating. Sophia was still groggy from the drug she'd accidentally taken, lying on the bed in a silk nightgown and mumbling incoherently. Marcus sat beside her, holding her hand and asking repeatedly what was happening. She understood that officers were going through their things, but she was too disoriented to defend herself. "This is insane," Marcus kept saying, his voice getting higher with each word. "There has to be some mistake. Sophia would never hurt anyone, especially not my mother." That the evidence was louder than his protest. In her suitcase, hidden in a zippered section under her clothes, they found 3 small glass bottles of clear liquid, each no bigger than a perfume sample. The labels had been removed, but you could see marks where stickers had been. "What are these?" the security chief asked, holding up the bottles with gloves. Sophia tried to focus on what he was showing her, blinking slowly. Those aren't. I don't know what those are." "Then why are they hidden in your luggage?" She couldn't answer. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. They also found a prescription bottle that looked exactly like my blood pressure medicine. Same pharmacy label, same drug name, same dosage. But when they opened it, the pills inside were different from what I'd been taking for years. "She's been switching your real medicine with these," the security chief explained, showing me the fake pills. We'll need a lab to test them. But I suspect they're designed to cause the brain symptoms you've been having. Marcus was staring at the evidence in complete shock, his face showing disbelief, confusion, and growing horror. Sophia, what is this? What have you done? She looked at him with unfocused eyes. It's not what it looks like, she slurred. Then what is it? He demanded, his voice cracking. She couldn't answer because there was no innocent explanation for having bottles of unknown drugs and fake medicines hidden in her luggage. The worst evidence was still to come. They found her tablet computer. When they looked at the photo gallery, there were dozens of videos I never knew existed. Videos of me during my confused episodes, clearly recorded without my knowledge. The security chief played them on the small screen while we all watched in silence. There I was, stumbling through my kitchen, looking lost. There I was, forgetting words during a phone conversation. There I was, looking confused during what I now recognized as one of our shopping trips. Evidence, the security chief said quietly. She was building a case to prove you were mentally incompetent. The pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. Sophia hadn't been drugging me randomly or just to be cruel. She'd been creating a documented pattern of brain decline, preparing to have me declared legally unable to take care of myself so she could what? Take control of my money. Have me put in a care home? The ship's doctor examined my prescription bottles from home. Sure enough, my medicines had been tampered with. Pills that should have controlled my blood pressure had been replaced with substances designed to cause confusion, disorientation, and memory loss. How long has this been going on? The doctor asked. Months, I said, my voice hollow with shock. Maybe since we first met. As they prepared to take Sophia to the ship's holding area until we reached port, I finally asked Marcus the question that had been eating at me. Did you know? He looked at me with tears streaming down his face. Mom, I swear to you on Dad's grave, I had no idea. I thought, God help me, I thought you were just getting older. I thought the confusion was natural. And I was grateful that Sophia was taking such good care of you. I wanted to believe him. Every instinct as a mother wanted to trust that my son was innocent, that he'd been manipulated as much as I had. But trust once broken is hard to rebuild. The way you've been acting, I said carefully. The arguments I heard. The distance. The stress. I've been worried about you, he said, his voice thick with emotion. And Sophia kept suggesting that maybe you needed professional help. Maybe you weren't safe living alone anymore. I thought she was being caring and responsible, looking out for you. The manipulation had been perfect. She'd made him part of it without his knowledge. She'd turned his real concern for my well-being into a weapon against me. But I still wasn't entirely convinced he was as innocent as he claimed.